always in the ministry. These 4 words tell about the incredible lives of the apostles after Jesus died. While enduring trials and tribulations and limitations, these apostles continue to represent Jehovah, and they continue to teach about Jesus Christ with joy in their hearts. Friends, are you dealing with some type of limitation? Perhaps you've wondered, I'm not like the Spirit-inspired apostles, or I'm not like Paul. I don't have that much to give in Jehovah's service. I wish I wasn't so limited in my service. A limit. What does it mean to have a limit? Well, a limit, simple, is a restriction of a measure of something. And interestingly, in mathematics, particularly in calculus, no matter how small or how large that measure is, there are infinite numbers within that limit. Now, what could that mean for our service? Well, let's take a look. Let's notice the example of the Apostle Paul and examine and reveal that no matter our limit to Jehovah, there are infinite possibilities in between for you to render sacred service to Jehovah. Now, Paul, we know, is someone who endured many trials, many tribulations, and limitations during his life course. But that did not stop him from sharing in the ministry. No. We're going to take a look and consider Acts chapter 27, verse 28. These are just the last 2 books of the last 2 chapters of the book of Acts. And here we read about Paul's journey to Rome. Well, that was no vacation, because a Roman army officer named Julius was taking Paul to Rome as a prisoner. Paul was definitely under unfavorable circumstances in being limited about him witnessing about Jehovah and talking about Jesus. But we know Paul. We know he loves, nothing can stop him from talking about Jesus. But this time, Paul, what would he do as a prisoner? How could he continue in his sacred service to Jehovah under this custody? Well, Paul sets a fine example for us because he made sacred service to Jehovah the first and most important thing. No matter what happened to him, no matter what was going on around him, no matter where he went or who he was talking with, Paul, he was always in the ministry. And so now let's consider what helped Paul to continue in the ministry despite this limitation and despite other circumstances as we look into the last 2 chapters of Acts. The first thing that helped, his attitude. Paul had a positive attitude while he was being brought to Rome as a prisoner. Yes, he was positive, he was respectful, and his respect, notice this point, his respect for the Roman army officer Julius helped him cope with his circumstances. To cope means to deal successfully with. In Acts chapter 27, verse 3, he was so successful at coping that it says that Julius treated Paul with kindness, permitted him to go to his friends and enjoy their care. Paul certainly had a positive attitude, and his faith in Jehovah and his respect for the authorities helped him cope, deal successfully with his situation. What else helped Paul? Well, he was meek, he was modest, and he was humble. Now, we can look at a specific verse where he made a recommendation to Julius about sailing out to sea from Crete. In Acts 27:10, he says, "Men, I see that this voyage is going to result in damage and great loss, not only of the cargo, but of the ship, and also of our lives. But did Julius listen? He listened to the pilot and the ship owner instead, began sailing along Crete anyway. But then the ship was suddenly seized by a great storm, violently tossed about for days. Has that ever happened to you? You might make a recommendation, but maybe like Paul, you just get shut down immediately. Well, maybe that recommendation was exactly what was needed, but would you respond arrogantly or humbly? Or be humble? Well, days later, after the storm settled down, let's read what Paul said. Let's read Acts 27, 23, and 24. He says, "This night an angel of God, to whom I belong and whom I render sacred service, stood by me and said, 'Have no fear, Paul. You must stand before Caesar. And look, God has granted to you all those sailing with you.'" What an opportunity for a witness. You see, an angel came and strengthened Paul. And Paul could have gotten upset at anyone for them not listening to his recommendations and arrogantly started telling them about the angel. But instead, he told the crew about the angel. How he did it, the way he did, shows meekness. He was very mild-tempered in dealing with the other people. That can help you in your ministry, but also with talking with our brothers and sisters. And also look, Paul did give a powerful witness about Jehovah to these men by saying, "The God to whom I belong and to whom I render sacred service." Paul knew, and he saw this as an opportunity to give a witness, and he conducted himself as a fine representative of Jehovah. Now peek down at verse 25, the very next one. Paul says, "So take courage, men, for I believe God, it will be exactly as I was told." Paul publicly declared his faith in Jehovah. Paul encouraged all of them to give thanks to God before them all. Or Paul was a good example in giving thanks to God before them all. And what a fine witness. Paul gave to all 276 people on that ship, shows the way he treated them. He really was always in the ministry. But finishing up chapter 27, daylight comes, and the crew was determined to land the ship. But the front got stuck, and the back of the ship broke apart because of the crashing waves, and they all jumped out into the sea and headed toward the land. Some were swimming, others were floating on the pieces of the ship. However, just as foretold, all were brought to safety and to land. Now let's turn over to Acts 28, verses 1 and 2, and read about what happened after they reached land. It says, "After we made it to safety, we learned that the island was called Malta." And Malta is actually an island south of Sicily. But notice, "And the foreign-speaking people showed us extraordinary kindness." What did they do? They kindled fire and received all of us kindly because of the rain that was falling and because of the cold. So these people who lived in Malta, what can we learn about them? Would they receive the good news about the Christ? I'm sure Paul wanted to witness. Did he? Well, the scriptures and history reveal that they showed extraordinary kindness and that they were foreign-speaking people. So maybe they never heard about Jesus or Jehovah, and Paul took note of this. he saw this as an opportunity to witness about the true God to them. Always in the ministry. Our good brother Paul. He put other people first. Even though Paul was a prisoner in custody, that did not rob him of the joy in Jehovah's service. Paul focused more on helping the people of Malta, who didn't yet know Jehovah, rather than focusing on his trial. How did he do that? Well, Paul and the crew, they were there for about 3 months. During that time, Paul had the privilege of representing Jehovah, yes, by prayer. He prayed for the sick. He was healing and curing them, and no doubt sharing the good news with all he met. He expressed such a love and concern for people, and he wanted to help them learn about Jehovah. Isn't that what we want too? He was concerned more about other people than he was, about him being in custody. And Jehovah, he was able to use Paul to teach and cure the people on this island called Malta. And remember, he was shipwrecked. They had no ship. Why is that encouraging to us? Well, again, despite any limitation in your life, some limitations you may feel like you're shipwrecked, stuck in a place, stuck months and months and months, years and years maybe. You can still you can still be used though to teach. You could still look for people who want to be like Jehovah, who want to be like you serving Jehovah while you wait on Jehovah. Your limitations, yes, and your desire, because Jehovah has the desire to help you. Jehovah wants to help you. And I know that if I'm experiencing any trial, Jehovah wants it to end. And being shipwrecked is only temporary. And Jehovah will bless you, he will, when you rely on him during any tribulation. He already plans to get you out. So, rely on his directions. The moment he says go, you go. If he says stop, you stop. Remember this about relying on Jehovah, you see. Jehovah will be the one who from the start of your tribulation is already making a way out, if not already made a way out. So think, can you wait on Jehovah like Paul? Paul was shipwrecked. Well, you want to know what happened to Paul and the crew? The people of Malta honored them with many gifts. And guess what? They gave them whatever they needed to set sail to Rome, even a boat. Now they are no longer shipwrecked. What a blessing that comes as a result of waiting on Jehovah. No doubt, yet another witness about Jehovah Paul gave. Wait on Jehovah, friends, and he will give you the boat you need to continue in Jehovah's service. But let's continue our story here as we browse briefly through this last chapter. Finally, Paul enters Rome. He continues bearing witness about the good news. And he's always in the ministry, as we see in Acts chapter 28, verse 16 and 17. What does he say? What is said? When finally we entered Rome, Paul was permitted to stay by himself with the soldier guarding him. However, 3 days later, he called together the principal men of the Jews. When they assembled, he said to them, "Men, brothers, although I had done nothing contrary to the people or the customs of our forefathers, I was handed over as a prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans." Can you see what a witness this could be? Well, we learn that just only 3 days after they finally arrived in Rome, Paul called together the principal men of the Jews. Why? Well, so he could introduce himself and also tell them why he is there. Again, the fine witness. Now, how do you think Paul wanted to appear before these men? As some Roman prisoner? Well, he did introduce himself as a prisoner. Why do you think he said that? It's always in the ministry. By appearing before the principal men of the Jews as a prisoner, but also as a servant of Jehovah, look down at verse 23. It says, they now arranged for a day to meet with him. And they came in even greater numbers to him in his lodging place, and from morning to evening he explained the matter to them by bearing thorough witness concerning the kingdom of God, to persuade them about Jesus from both the law of Moses and the prophets. Verse 24 and 25. Let's read it. Let's read just a little bit. But just verse 23. Can you see? He's still in the ministry. Although he's limited in Jehovah's service, yes, Paul found these many opportunities he could represent Jehovah and teach about Jesus. And you see, did you notice? It says they came in even greater numbers to his lodging place. This allowed Paul to do his thing, be very persuasive, right? This verse, he welcomed the principal men of the Jews into his house to tell them about God's kingdom, Jesus. Well, did they believe him? Verse 24, it says, some began to believe the things he said, others would not believe. But that didn't stop Paul from teaching. He always looked beyond his limitations, and he took advantage of these opportunities in between. Well, Paul, after that, he was under house arrest for nearly 2 years. He was limited in his preaching work, but he looked for opportunities to give a witness anytime and anywhere. That allowed him to preach and teach the good news to anyone. And anyone who would come to him during his house arrest, he would present Jesus. Now, was there anything specific about Paul's ministry that's a treasure for us today? Absolutely. Absolutely. This treasure. Paul was always in the ministry. No matter where he was, no matter his circumstances, or even if he was limited in any way, he was always in the ministry. That truly does sum up the Acts of the Apostles, doesn't it? Always in the ministry. And from our study of the Bible, and from our publications, we understand our ministry includes, but is not limited to, the door-to-door ministry. It includes many other forms of the preaching and teaching. Card witnessing, letter writing, informal witnessing. Even more than that, an important part of our ministry also includes construction work, relief work, caring physically for our brothers and sisters, bringing support and comfort to our brothers and sisters, helping them financially, and much more. And so may you too continue with these fine works, including the door-to-door ministry, as we wait on Jehovah despite any limitation. In addition, always remember this: our service to Jehovah, which includes all of those fine works, you will have success too when you are always in the ministry.